entered and you met your foster parents for the first time, what was that first word that entered your mind?
Lost, confused.
When I was a kid, the only reference that I had to what foster care would be like was the movie Annie, and how naive it was. That was my reality. That was my reality.
They say 13% of murders are exacerbated by toothache. I'm just bullshitting, but it sounds true, don't it? It sounds believable. That's the point. It sounds true.
Here I is, take a seat. It's been a while, repeat after me. Been around the world, seen some places, and still I need a vacation. Been a little rough in the past. Financials was put on blast. Lost it all, could have been worse. Could have been writing this from a hearse. Got so bad, wanna snatch your purse. Then realize that would have been the worst. Make decisions based on kids. Can't give up, that's how I live. Bring you that fresh salad. That's how this is going down. Not trying to reinvent the wheel, just going for a little master bill on my grind.
Children in foster care have been betrayed, they've been abandoned, they've frequently been physically as well as emotionally hurt. They're awash in a system that they have no control over and they can't understand. It would be natural for any human being to be angry as well as awash in feelings of helplessness. All too often we see both foster parents and foster care workers then talking about children having problems with anger, rather than understanding that there is much to be angry about. The anger and confusion that children in foster care feel is fully warranted by their actual life experience, and it doesn't represent something that's wrong with them at all. It's a normal, natural, appropriate response to a world that has been hostile and dangerous to them.
I remember how, I even remember who, but I can't remember why now, why me, please stop, don't push, don't rush, show the truth, not much, come close, don't touch.
So when I went to foster care, they didn't give you a manual. They didn't give you a handbook on what the experience was going to be like or what you need to expect or what you should expect. Imagine being dropped off in the woods where you see the light at the end of the tunnel. Then they blindfold you and tell you, go ahead. That's what it was like.
Can I hold your hand?
No.
When we got adopted by a bald guy, I thought this would be more like Annie.
My name is Dory Branson. I am the director of Angel House, which is a mother-baby program for pregnant and parenting teen girls.
Anastasia Romero.
What brought you here to Angel House? Tell her that story.
Oh man. Got removed from my mom and dad when I was 12. I was pregnant.
What advice would you give your younger self if you can go back in time?
I guess not being afraid to ask for help, but also don't be afraid or don't fear the help that they give you. Just asking questions if you need to know the answers. Don't fear the outcome.
Fear the outcome. Fear the unknown.
Yeah.
When I graduated from high school, I joined the military.
Fear the unknown.
Fear of the unknown.
Fear the unknown.
What we have created in our minds, our perception becomes our reality.
Fear the unknown. So I go in there not knowing, except for whatever I saw on television. Fear of the unknown. You know, all the military movies that you see on television, the basic training, and that's how I thought it was going to be.
Fear the unknown.
Fear of the unknown. You know, first night, fear of the unknown. Sleep. You woke up in the middle of that drill instructors flipping over bunks, screaming, disoriented instructions, crying like, oh my God, what did I sign up for? This is not what I thought. You're scared of the unknown because of what you saw on television, the media hype, you know, they yelling at you and slapping you and kicking your ass and all kinds of things. That's what you think is going to happen. So you're scared of that, not reality. Fear of the unknown. And I don't know anybody here. I'm going to this new school. I'm the only black kid at this school. I dealt with that situation before when I went to Allegan. You know, it was just me, my foster brother, and maybe somebody that was on the wall in a picture. That's what it was like.
As of 2013, there are over 400,000 children in foster care. I was a foster kid and somehow I made it out.
Foster care is not where you want your child to go because the foster care system is broken.
My name is Amaru, and I was in 4 foster homes from 7th grade to graduation. I always thought about getting them, but I was afraid to for some reason. I don't know what that fear was, the fear of the unknown maybe. But it was time. And then in searching for my records, I found out that at age 30, they destroy them. And so here I have what was left of the records. I bet you if I go commit a crime, they'll find all of them. It's open, but the file is too big for the envelope. So this is all I've seen. I haven't looked at it yet. I don't even know what this is, but it has something to do with my juvenile file. And I want to open it on camera for the first time. I don't know what it says. I just can see it says case number and petition, and that's it. And the crazy thing about it, they charged me $25 for this, $1 a page. This is all this is 25 pages of something.
And how it came to be. Sometimes I wonder, was it worth the ecstasy, the pain in me, the feelings of inadequacy. Yes, I spit it like a trained athlete. The man in me understands from just pure anatomy. Stayed in trouble because I thought I knew who I was gonna be. It's maddening, it's sad to me, but reality, I'm so glad to be a non-casualty, which is destined statistically. But I had a dream, I guess that's just the king in me. I have a dream.
I'm smooth as hell, deeper than Atlantis. This beat reminds me of a time when I was really scared. I have a feeling that I'm dealing with some hidden demons, cause I'm fiending for trouble, metaphorically speaking. I'm smooth as hell, deeper than Atlantis. This beat reminds.
In other countries, some countries, they keep your records for 75 to 100 years. And so foster children who age out of the system to be able to have access to those records indefinitely, at least for their lifetime. Because to know where you come from, you need to know your past. And so, a lot of things like the names and the actual locations of some of the places that I lived in, I don't know. I can't remember, and I may never remember.
My name is Michelle. I have 4 kids. I worked for a home, like a group home for foster children, where they put the foster children that they feel don't have the skills to put them into a regular foster home, or they've had problems in the foster home, so they send them to this group home. Well, I guess when I started working there, I was thinking, it was going to be, there's so many kids there, it was going to be a warm place, it was going to be, somewhere where there had been a lot of abused children there. So they were going to work with them on that, and instead it was just, like I said, it was run like a prison. It was just a medication factory. Just want to get kids in and out.
What do you mean by medication factory?
Well, like I said, they were more worried about, putting these children on medications and changing their medications and keeping them calm than they were, actually working with them. They only seen the psychologist once a week, and really all he did was change their prescriptions around. He'd have, the whole unit, the employees from the unit would have a meeting once a week, and this psychologist would be there, and he would go over what medications he thought he should change with what children. He kind of go by what we said rather than, really working with the kids or spending time with them. And for the whole entire building, there was only one psychologist. The children weren't receiving any counseling, any therapy. As far as I could tell, having these meetings, they weren't working with the biological parents to try to fix or repair anything. They weren't putting those parents through any counseling. They were just worried about, getting the kids calmed down enough and having the kids show them that they could, follow the rules there under lockdown for long enough that they could take them and release them back into another foster home.
I wasn't a perfect child by any means. My father was in and out of prison. I haven't seen him in over 30 years.
My mother and father together was no good. My mother and father apart was no good. What tends to happen is one of the children looks like the other parent. And so there's a constant reminder of the parent that's not there in your house that you gotta feed, look after, care for, love.
I was just like any other kid. Stubborn, and stubborn.
Good times were had, but that didn't include my father.
Places I could be. My daddy decided not to pull out, and there I was conceived. Home of the champions. Remember me? Woosah, Hood Rawls, or the big home. Gary is where I was born. Uprooted to Kalamazoo, Michigan, by way of 90.
We went from
further east.
Kalamazoo,
my mother said bump that and told my father
to Arizona, back to Kalamazoo.
Out of the frying pan into the desert heat. I realized that Arizona had the same type of streets, killers, drug dealers.
My mother doesn't know this, but the one thing she taught me that stuck was how to run away.
Ain't no fun. Moved to Patwood because we had no funds. Out of all the places in the world, we ended back in this motherfucker. Out of all the places in the world, where do you think I'm from? Where do you think we from? From. Out of all the places in the world, where do you think I'm from? Where do you think we from? I'm from.
My introduction into probate court. I think I had been running away already, and it started in Arizona. All right, I don't know what this is, but here we go. First says my name, the above named child with allegations on about June 22nd, 1987. Oh, I remember this. I stole a BB gun from this kid. And my cousin told on me. I went over his house, and I was in the 7th grade, I think. I stole the BB gun, took it home, and I was just fascinated by it. And I had a lot of little toys, little men, little action figures, and we line them up and shoot them. That was fun. That was great. And so my cousins had come over. My cousins were with their mama for the summer. And so, we weren't supposed to have company when my mama was at work. We were latchkey kids, so me and my little brother were home by ourselves. But lo and behold, we had company when my mama was at work. She said we couldn't have company, but she didn't say that we couldn't have the front door open with our company outside the threshold. If mama would have called us and been like, but you said they couldn't be in the house. They on the porch. I had stolen the BB gun. We had lined the little men up against the the door threshold, and we were shooting them, and my cousins wanted to shoot. Now, the two cousins at the time, it was like us other cousins had a favorite cousin out of them two. Ronald we treated him like a stepchild, and Mikey was, he was on the pedestal. Everybody liked Mikey. And so Mikey wanted to shoot the BB gun, so I let him. He was the favorite cousin, I let him. So he shot the BB gun, pow, 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 pow. And Ronald was like, can I shoot? Why can't you shoot the BB gun? Why, So because I didn't let him shoot the BB gun, he went and told him. That simple. Police came, did a police report, had to go to court. We at court day, we all in the hallway. I'm nervous, I don't know what's gonna go down. My auntie was mad because he told on me. They were trying to figure out what to do. They told me to plead this thing called no contest, which AKA means you did it. So my lawyer takes me outside, he sits in the car. Now I'm a little kid and I don't know what's gonna go on, and I'm going to prison now because I stole a BB gun. My lawyer, he gets in his car, and he's like, well, kid, I'm gonna plead no contest. He was explaining stuff to me. Just like I took a drink of this water because my mouth was dry, he reached under his seat, pulled out what I know to be now as a flask. He did the same thing. I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, damn, dude, drink. Okay, cool, whatever. We go back inside. They say, plead no contest, whatever, blah, 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 blah. I'm in the system now. Now I'm on probation, and I got to go to the YMCA, and I do community service.
Whew. Tell you where I come from. My father was a real live pimp. Yeah, my mother was a real live Jehovah's Witness.
On my father's side, he was that guy. He was just, you could wake up from being, unconscious for a couple hours, just out of the blue. That's the type of situation that was at home. That Child Protective Services or social services never got to see that. My mother hid it well, like my cousin said. She was like, cuz, we never knew that was going on. Every time we see you, your mama always had y'all hair combed. Y'all was the cleanest dressed cousins in the family, because we went to church a lot. That's where we was at. And so we always had suits on. Every time we went over grandma's house, we was coming from, the religious ceremony. And my mother, her abuse that she incurred from my father, she hid that well, makeup and always smiling and seemingly happy and suffering. And, as a kid, there's nothing you could do about it. There was nothing I could do about it. And,
I wish I could explain the questions we have. My methods are so tainted. I look for the answers in spiritual places.
Action. Where are you from, baby?
I'm originally from Las Vegas, Nevada.
What brings you to Michigan?
Reunification with my foster family.
You said you went to foster care when you were 10?
I was taken when I was 10. I went into foster care when I was 15.
So when you were 15, and the moment you entered the foster home, you didn't have any formal training, or they didn't explain it to you. When you entered and you met your foster parents for the first time, what was that first word that entered your mind?
Lost, confused. Somebody was replacing my parents. I wasn't looking for a replacement, even though I had been abused and I was taken. But it was, do I call them mom and dad, or, who are they to me?
What could they have done that could have helped you in that situation? What could they have done to ease your pain?
It would have been nice to explain the situation, know more about them, their background. They get a file to read on me. We don't get a file to read on them. I grew up in the system in Las Vegas, Nevada. I was first taken when I was 10. Because of my behaviors, I wasn't placed into a foster home until I was 15. And when I was, it was a therapeutic foster home. So my foster parents were trained specifically on issues that dealt with kids that were emotionally and mentally impaired. I was told at one point that I would never amount to anything and that I would not make it in society. I ended up graduating when I was 16.
From high school?
From high school, yep. I did have a full ride to University of Las Vegas, but it wasn't my time. I had some other personal issues that I was dealing with. My first caseworker I didn't like because my stepfather that abused me only got 3 weeks in jail. They never paid any attention to me unless I was doing something wrong or they had some paper to sign. I was just a number on their caseload. It wasn't until I got into a special program for foster care that I had any workers that cared. But as far as the state workers, they didn't care. They weren't around.
Was it a situation where this is what it is and deal with it, or did they not know that they could have been doing more?
I think they were just doing their job, whether or not they were doing what they had to do. I mean, they have high caseloads, but at the same time, I think too, and I still see it. I see it in the system here as I work. Caseworkers aren't there. I mean, you should make a point to at least meet your kid maybe once a week, once a month. I mean, I still think that's part of the system being broken. I have a very strong opinion of the foster care system. I think it's not the best that it could be. I think it's fabricated. I think kids are forgotten. And the older you get, the less anyone pays attention to you or wants anything to do with you. They'd rather just put you in a placement or a foster home and not deal with you.
How long has Angel House been here?
Let's see, I've been here 5 years. I believe it's between 7 and 8 years.
And it paid for by?
It used to be a nonprofit program, and now I believe we have a contract through the state, but also we have an amazing community that contributes a lot to us through donations and their time and their effort, and the community takes care of Angel House.
Awesome. And what advice would you give your younger self now that you're old and wise now? What advice would you give your younger self if you can go back in time?
I'm not sure I would go back because I've learned everything that I've learned as a kid has made me who I am. I just think I would take a little bit more time to plan ahead, get my education a little bit earlier on, but I don't believe there's any regrets now.
Some people are watching this.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say, why should we care?
Why should you care that the girls are here for so long?
Yeah, why should we care about they got themselves in that situation, but why should we care?
Well, first of all, you want them to succeed. You've already invested. I see it as an investment in getting them through this program. You don't want to stop halfway through and say, okay, well, we're done with you. Second of all, these girls have children, and our mission is to stop that cycle of neglect, abuse, violence. These girls learn how to appropriately parent. The first 2 years of a child's life is the most important in the attachment process. And our goal is to learn to teach these girls appropriate parenting, nurturing parenting, and break this cycle. Basically break this cycle. And so that's important to follow through with it. And if we just said, okay, well, you're done here and you can't find a place to go, we're just going to kick you to the curb and give up on you like everybody else seems to have given up on you in the past, and I guess funding's done, so we're done with you. And that won't happen here. We're going to do everything that we can do to figure out a way to help you. There's some great girls out there that take this head on and want to become a parent, be the best parent they can, and learn how to even break that cycle. A lot of our girls have come from very traumatic situations, broken homes. A lot of them have grown up in foster care. A lot of them come straight from foster care. Just real, what I call social traumas.
What is your take on what's wrong with the system, and how would you fix it?
Money is what's wrong with the system. I feel that everything is based on time frames or based on money. I would love to have a state-of-the-art program where money was no object, and I could have a holistic, all sorts of therapeutic approaches. Not one therapeutic approach works for everyone. And some people need a little bit more work than other girls need. If I had an unlimited source of money to help these girls get through whatever it is that they need to get through to address whatever demons they face or roadblocks, I would do it in a heartbeat, and I would do that, even if I could have one-to-one staffing, just to help these girls understand that we're here for them. You are not a number.
So if someone wanted to help Angel House, let's say some, Daddy Warbucks.
That is such a great tie-in.
Right. So if Daddy Warbucks saw this and was like, I did not lie, and wanted to do something for Angel House, how would they go about doing that?
They would contact Child and Family Charities. They could contact me at Angel House.
You guys have a website?
It's Child and Family Charities in Lansing. childandfamilycharities.com, I believe. You can call me at Angel House, 517-244-4444. We're always depending on the kindness of the community. We go through over 300,000 diapers a year. Just to give you an idea.
That's a lot of poop.
A lot of...
We'll repeat. Say the number again. We'll repeat it like a car commercial.
Okay.
That's 517. Sit back so that you're not crowding the screen. There you go, the screen. There you go. Relax. There you go. Relax. There you go.
Okay. Okay?
Yep, action.
Hello. My name is Dr. Tony Heineman. Dr. Tony Heineman. I am a clinical psychologist, and I am the founder and executive director of an organization called A Home Within. We provide pro bono mental health services to children and youth in foster care, current and former foster kids, and our goal is to address the emotional needs of those in the foster care community. We do this two ways. One is by offering long-term, open-ended, individual psychotherapy to current and former foster kids, and also by providing education and training to staff and volunteers working with foster kids through our Fostering Relationships program, because we know relationships are important. Most of us feel sorry for the new kid in the class because, he or she doesn't have friends yet, is lonely, and that's what happens to foster kids all the time. And as you say, imagine you're 3 years old and you move to a new place and you're all alone. You are completely, totally all alone. Or when kids move to a new community with their parents and their families, mom still cooks the same food, they still have their toys, everything smells the same, it's the same furniture. When you have a foster child taken from his or her home, even if it was a dangerous or neglectful situation, they're put down into completely unfamiliar territory with no, as you say, there's nobody to guide them. There's no roadmap. They're too little to read the emotional roadmaps,
Yep.
Too little.
Yep.
One of the things that I was asked to talk about was what I think is wrong with the foster care system. And I think in some ways it's very, very complicated because it's a very complicated system. But in a basic way, I think it's very simple. I think it's a system that fundamentally does not understand the importance of stability in relationships. And that makes it very difficult to honor and privilege relationships in policies and procedures. We understand the importance of relationships, and we understand that if we can help a child or a young adult develop a healthy relationship, a trusting relationship with a therapist, that the skills that he or she learns in that relationship can be generalized to other relationships with other adults, with teachers, with foster parents, with friends.
You find when you get a certain age, you start maturing. Usually girls.
I'll just have some water.
Take some of my medicine. Dear diary, day one of change. I'm trying to work on my marriage, and it's like every time I turn around, I'm the asshole. Then I say to myself, well, maybe it's my approach, you know? Why when I do something wrong, you know you just need move on. I change my approach, and then yet again I'm the asshole. Why when I do something wrong, you rub it in like you have no flaw. Okay, then you tell me what's wrong. You tell me, please. Why when I do something wrong, you know you need just move on. Okay, I can work with that, see? Now we can move forward. Why when I do something wrong, you know you need just move on. Dear diary, day two of change, and I'm still an asshole. Why when I do something wrong, you rub it in like you have no flaw. Now, get this, she's raising her voice, which I stopped doing, but I'm still wrong in the asshole. Why when I do something wrong, I know I did, so move on. I have acknowledged my wrongs, and I feel your hurt. Why when I do something wrong, I gotta hear it all day long. But you gotta hear me, I'm hurt too. And you don't see that? Why I cheated. Why when I do something wrong, I know I did it, just move on. I told you. I thought two wrongs made us even. Why when I do something wrong, you act like you have no flaws.
What, you leaving?
I can see that you want to be a bachelor, and you want to do your own thing, and you don't want to be tied down. And that's cool. I don't understand. My family loves you. Yeah, I know we're not exclusive. We've only been dating a couple weeks, but I'm looking to settle down. And when you're ready to settle down, give me a call. Seriously. I'll be waiting. So, if you need me, you know where you can find me. I'll be waiting. If you need me, you know where you can find me. Guess I'll see you later.
Wait.
Yes?
That's my blanket.
We incorporated in 2001. Before that, we were working in a loosely organized fashion in San Francisco. But when we were getting requests for people to help them replicate the program in other communities. We incorporate it as a nonprofit. Right now we have about 50 in 22 different states.
Okay. And one of them being here in Michigan. Can you tell?
Yes.
Do you know anything about the Michigan office?
I know that we're around Troy, Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a relatively small chapter in Troy, and we would love to have more people, more therapists who could join and would be willing to take a teen, or a young adult into weekly psychotherapy. Also offer all of our clinicians ongoing consultation, pro bono consultation. So in every community we serve, we have senior clinicians who volunteer their time to run group consultation groups for the therapists, so that the therapists are getting ongoing training, networking, support, and they can also get continuing education credits for that. So we really know that the therapists need a lot of support in order to do this work, and we try to give that to them. So we're also building a community of therapists who have a passion for working with foster kids and are eager to educate themselves about how best to do that work.
So for us who are not therapists, how can we help your organization?
You can spread the word. You can spread the word about the emotional needs. You can spread the word. You can bang the drums. You can jump up and down. You can say, we all know every single child needs at least one stable, caring adult in his or her life to thrive. It's vital. We know that. Everybody knows that. Parents know that. Teachers know that. It's just common sense. And so if we know that and if we believe it, why do we introduce so much instability into these kids' lives? We need to say no. You can help spread the word. You can help us recruit therapists by talking to people who you know are therapists. You can let young adults, foster kids, know that they can refer themselves to a home within. You can let foster parents know that they can pick up the phone and call us. And you can also direct people to the Fostering Relationships website, and so that they can have access to the information that we're making available.
Because my understanding that you quit on your own, right?
Yeah, I couldn't work there anymore.
Tell us why.
It's not even one thing, it was several things. They weren't on my unit, but there was several young children there, and they have their little stuffed animal or their doll tucked under their arm, and they're crying, they're having, meltdowns, and you can't pick them up and hug them, you're not allowed to. And that's all they need at that age. That's exactly what they're supposed to have at that age. And then I found out we were getting a 4-year-old on our unit, and that's when I had to quit, because I can't, that was too hard for me to deal with.
Okay. Were you qualified for this job?
No, they definitely not. They will hire pretty much anybody. I think as long as you don't have a record, they'll hire anybody. At the time, and I felt like I was very young. I was surprised that they'd hired me. I think I was maybe 23 at the time. And there was people, working there that were 18, 19 years old, the majority of them college students who had no experience whatsoever with children. Definitely not qualified for the work that they had us doing.
So what was the biggest issue you saw there?
Children trying to take care of children. You have 15, 16, 17-year-olds there, and then you have 18, 19-year-olds trying to discipline them, and run the show there, and it was a disaster.
Well, there's simply no substitute for getting the very most and best education and training you can. And I think of that more along the lines of the public and the public's political representatives understanding that if you dilute the quality of the people who are trying to help these children in need, that can't be good. So once again, we need to provide enough education and enough training, both to people who want to be helping professionals and to people who want to foster children and help them as foster parents. We need to provide them with the resources they need to be competent in what they're doing. I am not supportive at all of people who say, well, I want to get in there and help. And I want to do that as soon as I can with as little preparation as possible because I really want to help today. That's not a good idea. You need to do the work first and get yourself prepared. Political leaders and people in position of power, particularly with regard to funding, also need to understand that by and large you get what you pay for, just like everything else in life.
That was very profound, what you just said. You get what you pay for.
My first foster home, it wasn't any experience. I didn't have a Daddy Warbucks, and I didn't have a big house and a butler.
Is this a train station? Are we going on a train?
No, dear, this is Mr. Warbucks' house. It was in Allegan, and it was an older couple. It was fun for the 2 weeks that I stayed there. I had there was a foster brother already there, and his name was Luigi. It was in the country. It was nothing but corn around us. I went to the school, I think it was called L.E. White in Allegan. It was a middle school. It was in the wintertime, and it was cool because the foster brother embraced me. He was a wrestler. That's where I got introduced to wrestling. He started teaching me wrestling, and so I was going to join the team that winter. I used to wrestle. You wrestle? Did you? What weight class? 175? That's what's up. I started off with 160, and then I went to heavyweight. Ever since then. Were you like a prodigy? Were you good at the shit? Oh, see, that's what I would be doing if I was a comic. I'd be in MMA. Seriously. I wasn't a prodigy when I first started wrestling. Actually, I sucked. It was, when you suck when you wrestle because you get pinned by somebody and they balls is in your face. I give up. You didn't shave today. This is ridiculous. Some bullshit. My wrestling coach felt sorry for me and shit. He was like, set goals for yourself. Set goals. I said, okay, next year, 1 ball in the face. And I made it happen because the dude I wrestled only had 1 ball. So I think his name was Lance or some shit. I was popular. I had a girlfriend right off. I remember one day we went to get our hair cut, and it was pretty much the first time get a haircut the way I wanted it. And I remember they took us to Kalamazoo to a place called Sir Bill's. Luigi got his haircut, and then it was my turn. He got me one of them shags. All it was a short haircut and a shag in the back. That was it. No lines in it. It was a simple haircut. She was the dominant one in the house. She was in a wheelchair, and she controlled everything. And we got home. She flipped out. Ooh, she flipped out. She was like, what is that in the back of your head? I was like, it's a shag. It's just a shag. She was like, no, you gotta get that cut off. I was like, it's just a shag. I couldn't understand why she was tripping. It was a shag.
and she tripped. I got called down to the office. I get to the office, man, I go to the counselor's office, my counselor, and who do I see in the counselor's office? My foster parents. It was like he was being held hostage. He didn't want to be there. He was cool with the haircut, but he had no choice. She just snatched the rest of his hair out. She was there bitching at my counselor about my haircut. She was that adamant about getting my haircut that she came to the school to bitch to my counselor about the shag people. So I was immediately like, you know, I wasn't fighting her. I was like, you know what, if it's that serious to you, I'll get my haircut, period. She was like, you'll get your haircut? I was like, I'll get my haircut. I don't want to argue about it anymore. I'll cut the shag off as soon as we get home. You could do it. She was like, okay. So seemingly, everything was cool. They left. I'm thinking when I get home, I was going to get my shag cut off. You know, so I spent some time with the shag, you know, because it was the last few hours with the shag. And we on our way home. I get home, there was an extra car in the driveway, and it was familiar to me. I walked through the door, I'm thinking there was another kid coming. And my probation officer was standing in the living room looking at me crazy. I'm like, what you doing? I forgot something? And then I noticed my bags were sitting in the living room too, like, why my bags over here? She was like, you gotta go. You got to go, you too mouthy for me. I'm like, I said I was gonna get the haircut. She was like, you got to go, you too mouthy. And her husband was standing there, he didn't say nothing, because he afraid he might get kicked out. He didn't say a damn thing. He was over there like, I ain't knowed you that long. You on your own. Man, that broke my heart.
How do you feel about the bouncing around and what that does to a child?
Well, repeated displacements is repeated damage. Every time a child is moved, it constitutes, from the child's standpoint, an experience of at least confusion, and at worst, and quite honestly, quite frequently, if not always, a sense of rejection or abandonment, which they've already suffered from their own standpoint. Their parents in some shape or form have failed them, have left them or been removed from them, which from the child's standpoint is undifferentiated. They have been failed or abandoned, if you will, by their parents, and then they get new parent figures who, when they're moved, effectively they're suffering another abandonment. Whether they experience it as rejection or not, they certainly have been abandoned and left, and this continues to degrade their ability to risk trust and their ability to feel secure. So there's nothing good that comes from that. Now, when children have to be moved for their own safety, well, then that's necessary, but of course that speaks to an error farther up the line, which was how was it that they were placed in a placement which necessitated repeated removal. So that just points to yet another complexity and another problem with the placing of children in foster care, that you really need to make the correct placement first, not on the fourth attempt. Really need to make the correct placement first, not on the fourth attempt.
Hello. I just want to be yours, and you'll be mine, and it'll all be fine. Yeah. What you want.
Children who are in foster care find themselves at high risk for developmental delays, and they may have difficulties with behavior, with social skills, and with academic achievement. One possible reason is the delay of the needed services to kick in. Children who are at higher risk of being neglected or being subject to maltreatment may fail to reach their potential and may have trouble forming relationships and making associations with others. Every single one of these children has had a story to tell, and every single case of a child in foster care has impacted numerous lives, from the families that take them in, to the families they've left behind, to the teachers and social workers who attempt to fill these needs and voids.
My father, he was something else, man. He liked to play games sporadically and shit. When he was kids. His favorite game was hide and seek. One time he invited the SWAT team to play. I didn't like it because I thought it was a family game. So we came in the house suddenly. One day it was just me and my little brother. He was about 7 or 8. And he had us hide under the kitchen table. We was hiding under the kitchen table. We was looking around. We was looking here. He was like... He was like, whatever happened, I love y'all. I was like, I didn't know it was such an emotional game, but I'll play it. I didn't like playing hide and seek with my father because he go hide and we wouldn't be able to find him for like 5 to 10. He is good at this game. We still can't find him.
I could have easily followed in my father's footsteps, but I always wanted to be somebody. And plus, I wouldn't have made a good criminal.
If we truly believed that children need stability in their relationships, we would not ever allow a child to be moved 5 or 10 or 30 different times over the course of sometimes 3 or 4 or 5 years. It's tragic that kids who spend a significant amount of time in the foster care system leave having lived in that many different places. What it demands of kids is that they have to learn to adapt. They have to learn how to fit in, rather than often never feeling that they actually belong. And I think the tragedy is for the children in the system, but it's also tragic for the foster parents who lose kids over and over again, often without understanding any better than the children do why they're being moved, why the kids in their care are being moved. It's also tragic for the caseworkers who have to remove children and have to say goodbye to children repeatedly, and who lose their co-workers at an alarming rate because the burnout and turnover is so high in the foster care system, sometimes as high as 40%. So imagine that when you start work in January, close to 50%, close to half of the people who are sitting in your office with you are not going to be sitting in that office with you in the next year. That takes a terrible toll on morale, which in turn gets passed along down through the system to the foster parents and to the foster kids. So I think that is the most serious problem in the system.
When's the
last time you were by this high school?
I just wanna be the one to give you what you want. Baby,
Close to 20?
Is it little?
No, it's huge. It goes from kindergarten to 12th grade.
And it's the public school for this town?
Yeah.
Or city?
City. Town, I guess. That's it right here. From elementary this end to high school to the other end. Mr. Leffler used to live, I don't know if he still lives there, but he was one of our teachers. Across the street right here. That's it.
This is the high school right here to the left?
Yeah. High school connected to but this is my old school from 8th to 10th grade.
Oh, to 10th grade?
Yeah. Let me get the other camera. And so it didn't last long because I ended up running away from that place. I got abused by the foster father. Like I said, he was an alcoholic, but he was a good man, and he was a hard worker. And
the foster mother drove him crazy. She was a nagger, and that's why he drank. We already knew, the grandkids, we all knew that's why he drank. That's why he drank, because of her. She was driving him crazy. She was driving us crazy. We wanted to drink. You know, and because he drank and he had the accent, he was Jamaican, it was funny to mess with him sometimes and get him. That was our entertainment. So we would mess with him. He'd talk stuff, and you know, he had some little fat fingers. He'd dig in his nose sometimes. He'd do it on purpose if we, you know, say something about it, and it'd be funny. It's like he'd be tickling his brain. He'd have it all up in there. He didn't care. He'd be like, he was funny. So one day I was in his truck, and I was playing. We was bored. Work was done. I was in his truck, and I was trying to fix the lock, and it was already broken. Everybody knew that, but I was calling myself trying to fix it. You know, sitting with the door open. And one of the grandkids saw an opportunity to get him riled up, which would have been funny at any other time, you know. But this dude had a bullwhip in his hand, so it wasn't the time. And so he was like, he looked at me and saw what I was doing and saw an opportunity. He was like, and I could see it on his face. He was like, "Oh, Grandpa, he messing with your lock. He broke your lock on your truck." And he was like, "He broke what?" I was like, man, I wasn't thinking nothing. I was like, man, quit trying to get him riled up. I didn't break this. You know I didn't break this lock. I'm over here trying to fix it. "Oh, Grandpa, he broke his lock. He broke your lock. He broke your lock." And he had that bullwhip in his hand. "You broke my lock, boy?" Walking towards the truck. And I'm like, nah, you know this lock was already broke. And, you know, I'm going to have to run in a minute. And so it was too late for me to run. Because when I did try to run, as he got closer, you know, I had just escaped the door, you know, protection. And when I ran this way, instinctively, you know, if he didn't have the whip, he would, you know, try to grab me. Instinctively, he just, and I was bareback. It was I had made a couple attempts to run away. At this point, I didn't have to run away anymore. Because as soon as the probation officer came, I was out of there. That was, you know, that was my ticket. That scar on my back was my ticket. I went in the room, barricaded myself against the door. The foster mother was at work. I couldn't wait till she got home. And the thing was, the probation officer came out to see us once a month.
I mean, they have high caseloads. But at the same time, I think too, and I still see it, I see it in the system here as I work, caseworkers aren't there. I mean, you should make a point to at least meet your kid maybe once a week, once a month. I mean, I still think that's part of the system being broken.
Adoption, it's a choice, and in our situation, it was, you know, as I said, it was like a gift from God.
VBYC alumnus like I am?
Yes. Yep.
That's obvious. That's where I met good old Charlie.
Okay, you got audio rolling?
Yep. Audio rolling. Take one.
Hi, I'm Kurt Lybrand.
I'm Louise Wright, Mom.
And I'm Charlie Lybrand.
In 1994, we were blessed with a child, or Dina,
who was 3 at the time.
We wanted a second child.
I'm Adina Lybrand.
And where did you get her name from?
Adina from Pasadena. Her great-grandmother was born in Pasadena, California, and that's how she got her name. And this Adina is the 6th of my wife's side of the family. So Adina here has a couple cousins that are first cousins, at least that are Adina, and a great aunt.
I think I'm the only one that goes by Adina. Everyone else goes by Dina without the A.
What about Charlie's name?
That is my wife's father's name, and Charlie's uncle, my wife's brother is named Charlie, or he goes by Chuck. And then I think there were 2 other Charlies before that, or Charles. So I guess maybe technically he would be maybe Charles IV, but we don't use that awkwardness.
Or no, a couple weeks after we learned that he was our baby. And he was born January 28th, 1997. And we received a phone call about a week later. They told us that Charlie had been born and that he was a healthy boy.
Dina, we were on the older side and found out we couldn't have any more biological children, so that's when we started thinking of adoption.
Alright, so here's how I tire swing. I would play on this a lot as a kid, with, like friends and stuff. And it was pretty fun. I mean, my dad, we got a ladder and he tied that up there. And we had like 5 adults on here to test the strength. And it worked, so I mean, it's pretty fun. And I like it a lot. Fondest memory. Okay, we had a sprinkler going on right here, one of those like wacky sprinklers for kids or whatever that would like spray all over the place. And what we would do, if you can imagine like the sprinkler like right there, is we would come around here and we would go in the sprinkler like this. And then you'd come back around, but you'd have to watch out for this tree.
How many people have slipped?
There are a lot that have hurt themselves, but I mean, it's all good fun, so. Yeah, really.
If you had to say one word about your experience with your family here in this home.
Delight. It has been delightful, and you know, I love it here. It's great. I mean, I have a loving family, and I couldn't ask for anything more.
Hi, I'm Kurt Lybrand. I'm from Kalamazoo, Michigan. I am a physical therapist, and I met my lovely wife, Louise.
We were married May 4th, 1985.
The cost.
That brings up a whole bunch, actually more than just the cost for us. But it was expensive. Fertility treatments are also very expensive. I was working at the time. I am retired now, but I was a lawyer and making pretty good money, and we had saved a lot of money, knowing that there might be costs associated with trying to have a family, and also we just like to save. And so we had no problem using our saved money for adoption. But the concerns that were associated with it was that around that time it was becoming publicized that associated with foreign adoptions, whether it was Russia or China or Korea or Guatemala, was a certain amount of corruption, because people in the foreign countries and somewhat the agencies here, but not so much because they are regulated, but in the foreign countries,
there was corruption because of so much money being involved. And so we worried, you know, about whether there might be any corruption associated with Charlie when there was a glitch in the final part of the process and they couldn't locate his birth mother. And we didn't find that out until we actually went down there, because the process was stuck at this final stage, and we decided that if we went down there, that might help find out what was going on and get the process moving.
Were you scared at that point?
Yeah, we were very scared. We were very scared. Yeah, but
did you think scam at that point?
Yeah, that there was a scam, that the birth mother might have been pressured into giving up Charlie or paid off or who knows what. And
maybe waiting for us to offer more money. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean anything like that. So what we decided to do was to hire a female or a translating attorney who happened to be female, who could translate for us with his foster mother who had met Charlie's birth mother. She told us that she felt, you know, really secure in the knowledge and understanding that this was, you know, a young birth mother who felt that she just wasn't in a place where she could properly care for a young baby, and that she wanted to give him up for adoption. And so we felt secure in going forward.
What's up, bro? Got a black man with a hand? What? That makes 5 this week. Awesome. Oh, I didn't almost see you because you're just dark as I am. You know what I mean? I saw the gleam in your eye. I know some of y'all looking at me crazy, and let me get this out of your head right now. I am not the dude from the Green Mile, okay? Please don't turn off the light, boss.
What was the first step to the adoption process, and why not in the United States?
One of the things we learned was that because of our age, it would be very unlikely for us to be chosen as adoptive parents domestically. That most young mothers or people who are giving up their children for adoption choose younger parents. Because of our age, we didn't want to have to wait too long. That's primarily what led us to look at foreign adoption, because we know there are lots of kids in the U.S. that also need homes, but like I said, we didn't want to have to wait too long.
What was the first day you brought him home?
Well, first, before we brought him home, we went to visit him in May. We were told that, you know, it takes anywhere from 4 to 6 months for the adoption to be complete. And we decided that at about 3 months we would visit him. And so we all went down there, the 3 of us, including Adina, Charlie's sister, and we got to be with him for about a week. The name of his mother, the name of his foster mother was Yolanda. And I remember the first day we met Yolanda and Charlie was on the balcony of La Casa Grande, which was a hotel right near the American Embassy on one of the main embassy roll in Guatemala City. And just a beautiful little hotel that used to be a presidential palace that was transformed into a hotel.
It was a pretty big hotel.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it had probably about 30 or 40 rooms. I think she was very excited about being a big sister, but probably, I don't know, and this is pretty common, I think, for siblings, older siblings. She said, when's Charlie going back to Guatemala?
Wow. She wanted the attention back.
You got that right. She wanted to be the center.
What was the trip back there when he was 10 to see where he came from, or what was that?
It was, I didn't really think. My mom had asked me if I wanted to see my biological mother, because she said that she could try to track her down. And I mean, I think that'd be pretty hard, but I said no, because I didn't want to do that. That would just be too tough, and I just wanted to go there for vacation.
One of the things when, before we brought Charlie home, I had read a lot about adopting children, and all the advice and experts say that it's really important from day one to talk to your child about being adopted and, you know, the process and why we decided to adopt and what his time was like before we brought him home. And so we did. And so I think that's part of why Charlie doesn't remember exactly when he learned, because he, from the time he was cognizant of himself and his story, he knew that he was adopted. He's always known that he was adopted.
So, who do we have in the middle here?
Dina Librand. I go to school in Ann Arbor. I go to the University of Michigan.
Sorry to hear that. So what's your take on this situation? Tell us from the beginning of when you remember the addition of your younger brother there.
Well, I was 3 when he was adopted, and I barely remember going to Guatemala, but I do remember bits and pieces of it, and pictures definitely help spread my memory. But I remember first meeting him. We went down to Guatemala once, and I remember pushing him around in the stroller in the hotel over and over, just doing laps. And I'm pretty sure I thought he was like a new toy. I think that was what he was to me. And then we went down again to bring him home, and I remember little things like moving him into his bedroom and going in to see him in there. My mom tells me that I'd always ask when he was going home. So that was, he was enjoyable, but I was getting sick of him. I wanted my attention back. Yeah, and those are the big things I remember.
Was it a big adjustment as you got older? Was it something it was just a norm? It became a norm? Or?
It definitely became a norm very quickly. Growing up, he definitely just felt like a biological brother, and that became just who he was very quickly. I remember one time he had this big stick of like bubble gum. It was like gum by the yard or something, so it was just some enormous thing. He ran around whacking me with it, and he would not leave me alone. That was his biggest quality, was he was very persistent. So I would yell stop, and it meant nothing, and it would last for hours till he finally got bored with it. I think it was definitely for his own entertainment. That was the entire purposes of it.
So the question that I've asked your parents and your brother is dealing with adoption in the foster care system. You have experience by way of living in the situation. Do you understand and acknowledge that there is something wrong with the system?
The biggest thing, at least what I hear from my parents and everything, is the ease with which you can adopt a child, and the amount, like, and just how many so many people just completely don't even think about adoption as an option or something they want to deal with because they know how big of a hassle it is. And I think that would be a big difference, is just adoption can be such, like, it worked out so well with our family, and it was such a, like, my parents are too old to have another child, and it just made it so that I could have a sibling. And I definitely don't think I would be the person I am at all if I was an only child. I don't think I'd like myself as much at all.
We don't know if we'd keep you.
I find out how the adoption system works.
When you adopt, it's just like they might as well be your own child, and that's who they're going to be for the rest of their life. So that's the way you should always treat them. It's as if they're your biological child.
Oh,
Guys,
yeah, you should do
the
that.
handshake. I'm gonna check the computer. Just record it.
All right.
Oh.
This is one that your dad, right? Grandpa started to do with you, right?
Oh, he's been doing this for years with us.
We modified it a little bit, but here we go.
Woo!
And that's
Show Yodi.
She called me. Did I just call Yodi? Yeah. Call me Yo. That's a new one. Put it in the record books.
Oh,
That's right.
Do it again. Go ahead. Do it again. I don't even know if I can do that. Go ahead, Mom. You do it.
I can. I can do a little.
That. Snap. Back. Now you go down. Yeah, fist bump.
Woo! See, you just joined the game. Look at that.
I got a stroke patient that actually does that. I do that. I taught her that, you know. It's taken months, but she's got it now.
Yeah, they were like, what's going on at the hospital? We got some handshakes. Right. I just stepped into that 70s show. What's going on?
Was it worth it?
Oh, yeah. Did you ask that question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
Well, I just want to know if there was a return policy. I mean, I
Did you get a receipt?
What's the warranty on that?
It's is it like a car where it's like 5-year,
50,000 miles?
Yeah. I don't think I've reached 50,000 miles walking.
What's a used adopted used child?
But was it worth it?
Absolutely.
I can't imagine life
Yeah,
without
absolutely. It's a fantastic idea.
Oh, I know it was worth it. So. Dad, you ready?
Ready?
Be together, maybe all of the above. And maybe all the stars can't look at a lick and I plan the picture. They got the picture, I just wanna be the one to give you what you want.
And which leads me to another thing that I always tell my kids. They need to appreciate. Both my parents are alive. My father's in prison for life. And my mother is around town somewhere. She's taking care of herself. I've been in show business for 20 years. I make music. I'm a music publisher. I've been on television, stand-up. I'm an author. Doing this film, yada, yada, yada. Big resume. Both my parents are alive, and they've never seen any of it. That's rejection.
in a way, fortunate that we couldn't have a second biological child because it opened up the doors to adoption. So it's been I don't know if it's bonus, but it's kind of a neat thing. And I think Adina needed a brother. It would not have been a good thing to have an only child.
But I'm gonna tell you this, years later as an adult, that lawyer, I had gotten a parking ticket. And I was good at fighting them. And I win 60% of the time. Guess who the judge was? My lawyer. The BB gun case, my lawyer. I walked up to the bench and I was like, hey man, look, I recognize you from somewhere, Judge. He was like, the probate court, you was my lawyer. He was like, oh yeah, I see a lot of people. Case dismissed. He's like, oh man, you know, I've seen a lot of people since then. That's a long time ago. Yeah, case dismissed. Then take it out.
Got so bad, wanna snatch your purse. Then realize that would have been the worst. Make decisions based on kids. Can't give up, that's how I live. Bring you that fresh sound. That's how this is going down. Not trying to reinvent the wheel. Just going for a little masterpiece. On my grind, take your time. I cross my T's and dot my I's. Make your statement, make your move. You really mean it, show the fools. On my grind, take your time. I cross my T's and dot my I's. Make your statement, make your move. You really mean it, show the fools. On my grind, take your time. I cross my T's and dot my I's. Make your statement, make your move. You really mean it, show the fools. On my grind, take your time. I cross my T's and dot my I's. Make your statement, make your move. You really mean it, show the fools. I did end up on the bottom. Money had me stressing. I ain't got it. They in need. I gotta feed them. It's a hustle. I really need it. On my grind, take your time. I cross my T's and dot my I's. Make your statement, make your moves. You really mean it. Show the fools. Talk is cheap, bark is loud. Go out there and rock a crowd. Ain't too proud. I don't beg. What makes you think you ahead? This ain't a race. I'll go first. Go rehearse, bringing you that fresh sound. That's how this is going down. On my grind, take your time. I cross my T's and dot my I's. Make your statement, make your moves. You really mean it. Show the fools. On my grind, take your time. I cross my T's and dot my I's. Make your statement, make your moves. You really mean it. Show the fools. On my grind, take your time. I cross my T's and dot my I's. Make your statement, make your moves. You really mean it. Show the fools. On my grind, take your time. I cross my T's and dot my I's. Make your statement, make your moves. You really mean it. Show the fools.
for Amaru.
Random thought. What if there was a race war between whites and blacks? Would the score be H1N1? He like, what's the H stand for? I got 3 kids, 1 baby mama, thank you very much. Damn shame that's applaudable, but I'll take it. My kids are black, white, and Indian mix, so they all fucked up. My son, he wanna open a casino now. I'm like, hold on, Tonto. Let's steal some land first.
Now, what is this for?
This is for a film called Annie Was a Liar.
Annie
Was a Liar. The truth about being in foster care. I'm a product of the foster care system.
I don't understand why. And I'm a parent, okay, that is adopted. And when I talk to my daughter, and, of course she's 21 now, she's had all sorts of bouts with wanting to know and wanting not to know. I think it's a natural thing to be curious.
Absolutely.
On the other hand, sometimes it could be Pandora's box. And when I look at, what kind of history should be kept, of course I think that history should be kept. On the other hand, when I look at the protection of the kids and the families themselves, it really concerns me at what point, because, for example, my daughter is, she wants to find out.
Right.
And then she doesn't. And then she does. And then she doesn't. Okay? And it's like I explained to her, careful what you wish for.